Today, we are really excited to chat with you about our demand for skilled talent report that we just had access to. It's brand new research that has been completed by Robert Half globally, and we're really excited to get into some of the nitty-gritty details from that today. If you don't know who I am, I'm Hannah, calling from Robert Half Technology. We are the Edmonton Friendly Recruiters, and this is my colleague Lindsay. She works on the finance and accounting side of our business, helping clients to really find the right fit on a permanent basis on their accounting and finance team. So without further ado, I'm going to hop it right into over to Lindsay, and she's going to chat a little bit about some of the interesting research that we have.
Yeah, absolutely. So kind of like Hannah just mentioned, we literally just got access to this report. So really interesting information that we're excited to kind of bring to you guys. So kind of one topic that I'm going to be covering is employers, pay attention to workers post-pandemic expectations. We did a survey kind of across all of different kind of industries on what workers are hoping to have change or keep the same post-pandemic. So some really interesting numbers. 74% of professionals in Canada would like to work remotely more often than before the outbreak. So that's a huge number, jump there. And I think just mostly because a lot of positions the excuse was, or the wordage was that we can't do this remotely. And we've kind of been forced, to make the jump and adjust. And a lot of people are finding that, work-life balance, actually being kind of part of home life to be really rewarding for them. Yeah. So I'm not, as surprised to see that huge jump in percentage, but it's exciting to see that more people are open to it. 48% would like staggered work schedules or a hybrid model as well. So split time between office and home, which actually is personally what I want to see kind of in the future. I think would be great. Keeping that interaction with your coworkers, but also having the option to work from home a couple days a week as well. 73% think their companies should have better cleaning procedures going forward. And I'm sure a lot of companies are slowly tackling that to get things rolling here. Funny enough, I actually had a client visit with a industrial cleaner, and they have been incredibly busy just with the demand, as kind of everyone, should kind of expect here. But it's been interesting to see different tactics of what companies are wanting to do. 68% are hoping to have fewer in-person meetings and trainings, which is actually quite interesting as well, because I feel like a lot of work, especially like in sales or recruiting, a lot of our business is driven by in-person meetings, and it's been an interesting kind of conversion to go to online. And actually, funny enough, there's a study kind of published just saying that our meeting efficiencies have improved drastically being virtual. You're not kind of draining out those in-person meeting conversations. It's been very efficient for sure. And, we're having more meetings than ever before. And there's actually a 40% increase in overall emails being sent out. So it's been quite an interesting kind of wrap in terms of that and learning about that information as well. And finally, 40% would want their employees to change the office layout in an effort to maintain social distancing. So few key factors here, learning about what employees are looking for going forward. And Hannah's going to kind of talk about some bright spots in terms of the report. It'll be exciting to hear. So over to you.
Yeah, I think there's definitely a lot of optimistic information out there that we don't get to hear a whole lot. And so we're really excited to be able to share some of the great things that we're seeing in the market. The first one being that 97% of individuals who became unemployed on temporary layoffs due to COVID are expecting to return to work. So 97%, that is a huge, huge percentage across Canada. And just really great to see that the outlook for those individuals are fairly optimistic overall. So that was really great. We've seen that in the second quarter of the year, in the kind of areas that we tend to work in, so professional roles, management, business, finance, admin, applied sciences, social sciences, and government, they actually have unemployment rates that are significantly lower than the national unemployment rate of 12.3%. So those areas have been less affected. There's more people back at work in those regions, which is really, really awesome. Obviously, as we talked about, people are wanting to work remotely. It's also been shown that that the way we're working is slightly different as well. So people want to have the ability to block their days into chunks of business and personal time. And the research shows that 64% of people say that it leads to greater productivity. So that might look like, 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. being work hours, 10 a.m. to noon being kid time, if that's your kind of family dynamic, or puppy time in my case. So definitely that kind of flexibility is really interesting to see what people are looking for. Human resources leaders are reporting that almost everyone is using virtual technology to do interviews, and that will probably continue beyond the pandemic. So we'll see a lot more remote hiring as we continue to go on. Small business sentiment is improving slowly and cautiously, but overall, there's definitely improvement in the outlook for small businesses since May, and that's really great to see. It looks like things are starting to turn around slow and steady for them. And overall, workers have become more comfortable using technology. So where there were individuals who hadn't maybe utilized a lot of these tools like Skype or Teams or Zoom, hadn't maybe been using what they had at their fingertips, we're seeing actually that a lot of people have been able to learn about how to use technology effectively. And overall, that this technology has helped with work-life balance, with 55% saying that the lack of the commute has made a significant impact to that. So really, really good to see some of those positives that come out of the last couple of quarters here. We definitely are glad to see some growth and some shifts in that direction. And we're really excited to see how things continue to improve over the next 3 to 6 months. Is definitely all very up in the air still. So it'll be interesting to see how that all pans out. And now I'm going to share back with Lindsay, and she's going to talk about those specific things she's seeing in finance and accounting. And there's a finance and accounting specific report that she'll go over.
Yeah, so it's basically, again, demand for skilled talent, spotlight on finance and accounting. So a couple key things I'm going to kind of cover: industries that are hiring in demand positions, and also in demand technology skills in terms of accounting as well, and what are leaders prioritizing in the coming months. So some really great information here. Top 3 industries that are hiring right now: banking and mortgage, construction and real estate development, as well as healthcare. So quite interesting. Obviously, one of the biggest industries is food and processing, and that's not even on this list. So it's quite an interesting thing to see kind of that shift into the different markets here and different industries that are kind of forthcoming here again, which is to improve in the market, which is great. In demand positions, not really surprised, accounts receivable and accounts payable is top. A lot of companies are trying to catch up in terms of their receivables and payables, not being able to kind of have those workers within, and now starting to bring them back. That's top priority with a lot of clients right now. Financial analysts, just looking at the overall performance of the company, where can you cut costs? How is the company, doing overall, post-COVID, going forward, and just looking at the projections there. And number 3, controllership positions, which is actually quite interesting. So we really haven't seen a ton in terms of kind of top management level. And, we've kind of said on our team as well before COVID, it's actually the most movement we've seen at a managerial level in finance and accounting in the last 5 years. So quite interesting, to see that kind of going forward and rolling into here as well. Really interesting there. In demand technology skills, advanced Excel. A lot of companies are looking for kind of those VLOOKUP, pivot tables, and macros. As a previous accountant myself, I know Excel is part of everyday life. So I definitely know, it's not surprised, it's a top skill there. Cloud-based technologies. I know with a lot of my clients I'm talking to in public accountancy, QuickBooks Online, number 1. And that's, the way that accountancy is going is completely cloud-based, which is really exciting. And finally, data analytics and database management as well. So just being able to keep the files up, especially APA and AR, going paperless, having that system in place and being able to kind of manage that, super important. And finally, what are leaders prioritizing in the coming months? Number 1, again, accounts receivable and collections, trying to keep, their companies afloat and having cash inflow coming. Accounts payable and disbursement management, obviously trying to be in good standing with vendors. and just keeping those relationship goings, and as well as cash flow projections and treasury management. Again, not a surprise there. I know a ton of businesses have had to change their cash flow projections due to COVID, and as well as their overall business plan. So it's going to be really interesting to see them coming back. And now I'll definitely hand it over to Hannah to kind of chat about the technology sides of what she's seeing in trends right now.
Yeah, so similarly to Lindsay, there's been a lot of industry hiring for healthcare, but also finance and insurance. We're seeing a lot of needs. Those industries, insurance especially, has been a lot of paperless work or paper work in the past and have needed to transfer over to paperless in the current situation. So lots of work happening there. In-demand positions and skills include application developers, cloud systems architects, database design and development, lots of work with data at the moment, especially transitioning companies to those cloud resources. They have needed to translate a lot of the data from on-premise to off. So a lot of needs when it comes to architecting that and coming up with the design and actually putting it in place as well. And then obviously user support, that was very, very key at the beginning of the pandemic as we all adapted. I know that our team was very, very busy during that time. So I know that that's a trend that definitely was seen over the last little while, and we're seeing it continue as everyone still adapts and adjusts on an ongoing basis. And what we're seeing with priorities for tech leaders. So what are they looking at? What projects are coming up down the pipeline for them? Lots and lots of work, as I said, with collecting, analyzing, and reporting on data. So using their data effectively, taking the information that they have and applying it to help the business improve. It's logical, it makes sense, but it's something that hasn't been done as extensively as it could have been in the past. And so this is a great opportunity for them to use that information to help improve recovery after everything that's been going on. So that has been really, really key. Maintaining and improving technologies for remote work and collaboration. So lots of Microsoft online applications. So Teams, SharePoint, OneDrive, lots of those implementations going on. Securing information and systems. So information security has been a hot button for the last, I would say, 3 years or so for sure, but it's definitely even more so now. Altering applications, so making shifts and making essentially adapting those applications to better support their team as the needs of their team obviously get changed. So that's been something that lots of projects have been kind of planned for. And then supporting digital transformation across the business. So working even more closely with business to help them meet their goals through using new and innovative technology platforms. So there's a ton of really, really great digital transformation happening across companies. And it's been really cool to see how everyone's adapting and bringing in new tools that will revolutionize the way that they do business moving forward. So those are the priorities for the leaders. That definitely is what we've been seeing in Edmonton, but it's definitely been the case across Canada. And then I thought this was interesting. What non-technical skills should employers be looking for at the moment? This is helpful. I think a lot of you will agree with this. So adaptability, critical, collaboration, and the ability to collaborate even when not physically close to another team member. So that kind of proactive collaboration is what I like to call it. Communication, leadership, and problem solving. So I think these were things that were important before, but are even more important now as we transition to the end of the year here. And just to wrap up, something that has been really important for our cultures and organizations and retaining top talent is promoting from within. So we just wanted to mention that and just encourage everyone to be really thinking about your strategy when it comes to growing your company. If you've had to downsize at all due to the situations, really using the people you have, promoting from within, and then bringing fresh mindset, fresh voices, fresh ideas into those positions. Now is the time to be doing that kind of thing. It really builds a culture of just a strong culture within the organization of promoting, helping people with their growth and helping people grow into leadership. So that's definitely something to encourage. You do not want to be losing your key talent right now, because people are hiring, as we've seen from Lindsay, they're hiring that senior level management organization level, right? So people will be making those jumps if they're not seeing the opportunity to be promoted within their existing organization. So that's critical. I wanted to mention that to kind of wrap it up here. But we went through a ton of information. So we're going to link both of these in the post. So I want you to check it out if that was getting hit by a hose with water. It definitely was a lot. But it goes into more detail, and we are here to answer any questions that you may have about these reports or anything that maybe wasn't touched on in the report that you would like us to talk about. And finally, we of course have a YouTube channel that we update weekly, and we are more than willing, in fact, we love to get your questions and to be able to answer them on this platform as well. So send us a message if you have any questions that you would like answered as a client or as an employee. We are definitely here for that. We want to help you really bounce back successfully from COVID, whether that's your career or the career of the people around you. So wanted to share that, like and comment on this, and get in touch. We'll see you soon.
Bye, guys.